plague or the plague is a disease that has a high mortality rate or a calamity with widespread and serious consequences for its victims. The terms plague or the plague may specifically refer to agriculture and medicine. Plague is a disease caused by Yersinia pestis. There are three major manifestations: bubonic plague, pneumonic plague, septicemic plague. An epidemic of infectious disease, a pandemic caused by such a disease, a swarm of pest insects such as locusts, a massive attack of other pests afflicting agriculture, overpopulation in wild animals afflicting the environment and/or agriculture. Religion, plagues of Egypt, the 10 calamities that God inflicted on Egypt in the Book of Exodus. Birds, plague, collective noun for common grackles. Historical plagues, list of epidemics. Plague of Athens, a devastating epidemic which hit Athens in ancient Greece in 430 BC, Antonine Plague, an ancient pandemic in 165–189 AD brought to the Roman Empire by troops returning from campaigns in the Near East, Plague of Justinian, a pandemic in 541–542 AD in the Byzantine Empire, the Black Death, the Eurasian pandemic beginning in the 14th century, Great Plague of London, a massive outbreak in England that killed an estimated 20% of London's population in 1665–1666, Plague Riot, a riot in Moscow in 1771 caused by an outbreak of bubonic plague, Third Pandemic, a major plague pandemic that began in China in 1855, Great Northern War Plague Outbreak, a European outbreak in the early 18th century, Media and Entertainment, Art, Plague, a painting by Arnold Barr. Paragraph CKLIN, fictional characters, Plague, a Marvel Comics character, the Plague, a Cobra Special Forces team in the comic book G.I. Joe, America's Elite, the Plague, a duo of demonic assassins in the movie Hobo with a Shotgun, films, Plague, a science fiction genre film depicting a genetic engineering accident, The Plague, a 1992 drama film, The Plague, a 2006 horror film, games, Corrupted Blood Incident, a virtual plague that occurred in the video game World of Warcraft, Plague Incorporated, a 2012 strategy game for smartphones and tablets by Endemic Creations, literature, Plague, a 2000 novel by Malcolm Rose, Plague 99, a 1989 novel by Jean Muir, The Plague, a 1947 novel by Albert Camus, The Plague, an epidemic in Melanie Rawn's fantasy novel Dragon Prince, The Plague, New York University's comedy magazine, Music, Artists, The Plague, a hardcore punk band from Cleveland, The Plague, an English punk rock band, The Plague, albums, Plagues, a 2007 album by The Devil Wears Prada, The Plague, a 1983 album by Demon, The Plague, 2002, EPs, Plague, a 1987 album by Clinique, The Plague, a 1987 EP by Nuclear Assault, The Plague, a 2005 EP by I Hate Sally, Songs, Plague, Musicals, Plague. The Musical, a 2008 musical by David Massingham and Matthew Townend, Television, Plague, a 2003 episode of Dead Zone, Plague, a 2004 episode of Deadwood, The Plague, a 1994 episode of Diagnosis Murder, The Plague, second episode of the 1966 Doctor Who serial The Ark, The Plague, a 1996 episode of Father Ted, Technology, Capacitor Plague, a condition afflicting computer motherboards in which capacitors fail,